There's a reason some women never post. Not selfies. Not stories. Not opinions. And it's not insecurity, it's something far darker and far more powerful. Silence online isn't emptiness, it's information, and a world addicted to visibility. Choosing invisibility is a psychological statement, especially when everyone expects you to be seen. Today, we're breaking down the dark psychology behind women who don't post, what they fear, what they understand, and what most people completely miss. This isn't about weakness, it's about awareness. Let's begin. Point 1. The deepest fear isn't rejection, it's reduction. Most people think women fear being judged. That's surface-level psychology. The real fear is being reduced to a body, reduced to an angle, reduced to a moment that never tells the full story. Posting doesn't just invite opinions, it compresses identity. Once you post, you're no longer complex, you're a thumbnail. And some women understand something early. The internet doesn't see depth, it consumes fragments, or they opt out. Not because they lack confidence, but because they refuse to be simplified. Point 2. Visibility creates psychological debt. Every post creates a contract. You show up, and the world expects consistency. Smile again, perform again, explain again. This is called psychological debt. The more visible you are, the more people feel entitled to you. Your time, your energy, your responses. Women who don't post understand this intuitively. Visibility costs more than it pays. Silence keeps autonomy intact, and autonomy is rare. Point 3. The fear of becoming predictable. The internet rewards patterns. Same pose, same tone, same personality, but repetition kills mystery. Psychologically, mystery equals power. Predictability equals control. Women who don't post often fear one thing more than hate: being figured out. Once people think they know you, they stop listening. The silence becomes strategy. Because you can't be boxed if you're unseen. Point 4. Attention is not neutral. It rewrites identity. Here's a truth most people never realize. Attention doesn't just observe you, it reshapes you. Likes condition behavior. Comments influence self-concept. Views alter self-worth. This is behavioral psychology 101. Women who stay offline understand this danger. External validation slowly replaces internal direction. You stop asking, "Is this me?" and start asking, "Will this perform?" That's the real fear, losing authorship over your own identity. Point 5. Silence protects emotional privacy. Posting feels expressive. But psychologically, it's exposure. Every caption reveals values. Every photo reveals vulnerability. Every story reveals rhythm. And once revealed, it's archived, analyzed, used. Women who don't post often value emotional privacy over social connection. They don't want to be decoded by strangers. They don't want their inner life mapped. Silence becomes a boundary, and boundaries are power. Point 6. They fear the subtle addiction more than the obvious one. Everyone talks about phone addiction. But there's a quieter one, identity addiction. The addiction to being perceived. When you post, you don't just want attention. You want confirmation. Confirmation that you matter. That you're desirable. That you exist. Women who don't post fear becoming dependent on that confirmation. Because once your self-worth is crowdsourced, you no longer own it, so they choose withdrawal before addiction forms. Point 7. The fear of permanent misinterpretation. Online, context dies fast. Tone is lost. Intent is twisted. Moments are frozen. Point 1. Post can redefine how you're seen, forever. Psychologically, this triggers a fear known as identity foreclosure. Being locked into a version of yourself you've outgrown. Women who don't post understand that people rarely update their perceptions. Once you're labeled, you're filtered. Silence keeps evolution possible. Point 8. They understand the economics of attention. Attention is a currency. And most people give it away cheaply. But some women understand market value. They know scarcity increases worth. They know presence loses impact when constant. They know silence creates gravity. Not posting isn't absence, it's controlled distribution. This isn't insecurity, it's leverage. Point 9. The ultimate fear, becoming a character instead of a person. Here's the darkest truth. When you post long enough, you stop being human. You become a character. People project onto you. Argue with their version of you. Consume you instead of knowing you. Women who don't post fear the psychological death, being performed instead of lived. They don't want an audience. They want a life. Point 10. Silence as self-trust. At the core of all this is one thing. Self-trust. Posting often comes from a need to be witnessed. Not posting comes from a comfort with being unknown. Women who don't post trust that their experiences are valid, even if no one sees them. That's rare. And it's terrifyingly powerful. The truth women fear more than anything isn't judgment, isn't criticism, isn't invisibility. It's losing themselves to the gaze. Some women post to be seen. Others stay silent to stay whole. And in a world that demands constant exposure, choosing silence is the most radical psychological act there is. Because what you don't show can never be taken, twisted, or owned. Silence isn't weakness. It's control. And the ones who understand that are never as invisible as you think.